Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Brandon Shank, and welcome to the Brandon Shank Podcast. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Brandon Shank Podcast. We are here. Corey is barely here.
Yeah, I'm still waking up.
That's what happens when you party late night, man.
Yeah, party late night. Get a text to record the podcast earlier, which you weren't pushing for. You were like, "Hey, if you're available," and I was like, "All right, let's just do it. Let's do it."
Yeah. So, and I told Corey why, because I've got some. Me and Adam got ourselves into some construction in the backyard. For all you watching,
yeah,
that's septic.
Lovely.
We're trying to put that in.
Does it come pre-filled?
It's not a cream-filled, pre-filled. Cream-filled septic.
Lovely.
Yeah. So
what's the worst too is I woke up this morning.
We're finishing up the apartment beside my house for my in-laws. So you were saying?
I woke up and I try and drink some water, obviously, first thing I wake up. Then I try and get my coffee. Well, there was no coffee left. So I'm running on no coffee either. So it's.
Bro, we got, aren't you up? You're up at the building, man. We got some up there.
I know. I need to get some after this. I'm not going to lie. I set my alarm for 8:15 this morning. It went off. You text me around 8:30. I was still in bed. I was like, all right, let's go. Let's get up.
Bro, so, you could have easily been like, bro, I didn't get in until 3. I'll be like, I got you. I'll wait. I know you're an early riser.
I am. Once I get up, I'm up. So I'm good. I'm surviving, but my face, I don't think has told. My body hasn't told my face yet to wake up. So
yeah, no, you're an early riser, man. I mean, that's why I'm saying it's
yeah.
It's one of those things, I'm actually texting you right now.
You're texting me. Okay.
Yeah, you're an early riser, man. You're always, anytime we are at hotels and stuff, Corey, when his alarm goes off, he's the most annoying person to share a room with because he wakes up. I'll tell you why. Because I used to be like you, and I'm not. My wife is not like that at all. So the alarm goes off. Corey takes off his breathing gear, his vein mask, and his feet hit the ground as he's hitting the alarm button to go off. And he's in the bathroom within 10 seconds. And within 20 minutes, he's ready. And he's sitting there waiting, ready to go. Yeah. And I'm like, dude, that's so I used to be that guy. My wife, she doesn't like to just hop up. And so I blame it completely on her.
You gotta. In my opinion, I'm like, all right, let's go. I'm ready for the day.
Well, it does inspire me. There are days I'm like, I need to be like Corey today. Get up.
My mentality is this. Before you go to bed, what time do you need to wake up to actually just get the most sleep possible? Wake up, get a shower, and be where you need to be. So my brain is like, I'm not snoozing 12 times. I'm like I hate the snooze button. So it's
you don't get good sleep. Snooze is a liar.
Exactly. So I'm like, just set the time that you need. Like, so on Sunday mornings, I gotta, I'm usually here by 6:00. I set my alarm for 5:20. 5:20. I'm here at 6, and most of the time I'm here at 5:45 because
you're a creature of habit. I gotta hand it to you. I mean, and he's not just telling you a story, folks. I mean, I brought this up. This is a man. The way he works, when he gets up, it's go time. There is no, it's time to go.
Yeah.
So I respect that, man. I mean, I'm not that guy.
Been that way since a kid. Ready to go.
I used to be a non-snoozer. I'm like, I get up and just roll. I think that Casey has taken me down a bad path in my life.
I love it.
Yeah. No, I'm just not I don't mind just getting up and going. But dude, you're an inspiration to all of us.
I appreciate it.
Snooze is a liar, but I will tell you this. I get really, really, like my best sleep, I feel like is in the morning when you're not supposed to be, when you don't want to get up. I feel like that's when I sleep the hardest. Like I don't sleep hard from like 12 or 1 until like 3 or 4. But after 4, I feel like that's when I hit my sweet spot. If I slept, like when I first fall asleep, I sleep good for an hour and a half. But then after 4, I feel like that's my best.
Interesting.
Now, to like a lot of nights, I mean, when I'm home, I just sleep through the night. I think on the road, it's always harder to sleep for me. I feel like things are different. It's not always as easy,
True.
hotels and stuff. I don't sleep as good as I do at home because ain't no place like home, man.
I get that. I get that for sure. Yeah, I literally slept on a mattress and a couch the last 2 nights. So I get that. An air mattress and a couch.
Yeah. Well, hey, listen, for all you out there, we are going on summer break. The Brandon Shank podcast will be on a summer break until August the 14th. So we will have good content coming on to all your socials. We'll have stuff coming in every week. There'll still be clips from other podcasts, but there won't be any podcast releases. So it's not that we forgot about you. It's that the podcast is going on summer break. We're going to take a little bit of a snooze. So I'm excited. I'm excited about this little bit of a breather. Excited about taking some time. I'll be gone. Some tournaments. Actually leaving tomorrow for a tournament for Ryland's Little League State tournament, which we're excited about.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so, and I can tell you today, I know it's a little bright behind me, but I don't know what you're going to see. My RV's back there somewhere. But yesterday
I see it. Maybe.
Oh, you see it?
Maybe.
There it is. Right there.
There it is.
It's in our driveway. We're getting it filled up. We got to leave tomorrow. Caden, yesterday, I'm on a Zoom call with leaders all over the country, people that are, very well respected and have just great insight. I was just gleaning wisdom, and he goes walking by in his underwear, rolling a speaker, playing the loudest hip hop you've ever heard, and he's just rolling it like he's just going down the street, walking over to the pool to go swim. I was like, you know what? I don't know if they saw him, but I could hear him, and he came right on the other side of this pole over here. And so I'm like, my man is just rolling out a speaker in the middle of summer time, walking around in his underwear,
Be you,
ready to go
Caden.
swimming.
Be you.
Yeah, I mean, he does. I got to give it to, actually, they weren't even underwear. They were sliding shorts for baseball. He just wearing his sliding shorts because he's just walking around, just wearing sliding shorts. I was like, you can't make this up, man.
I love it.
You just can't make it up. But so I don't know what you're going to see. So just hang in there, guys.
Be ready.
It could be an adventure-filled day. But, so my wife, we're doing some traveling this summer, but my wife was like, hey, man, we want to go back to the university we graduated from, Evangel University. There was this big event this fall, and so she wants to take our kids back, and it's like bring your families and see all of our friends. It's like, all right, we can try to do that, this and that. Well, I got an email yesterday. It is my 20th year college reunion. College.
You're so old.
20 years, bro. I graduated in 2004. 20-year college reunion.
The college one, yeah. I just got my invitation to my 20-year high school, but college that's different.
Different animal, bro. 20-year college reunion, man. So
that's wild. Well, I don't know if to tell you congrats or sorry. Which one? I don't know.
I will say this. Let me say this. I have enjoyed getting older.
Oh, for sure.
I feel like I just enjoy getting older. Like, there's no stage of life that I wish I had back. Like, when me and Casey dated, your dating stage is overrated. Like, I like being married way better than dating. When you go to all your friends' weddings after you get married, you know how you have that wedding season where you're just going to weddings all the time? Did you have that season?
Yeah. So that season of my life was me performing in every single wedding that I got to a point where I told Lauren, I was like, I just want to attend a wedding and not have to do either officiate it or play a song in it or you name it. It's like, can I just go to a wedding? So I think there's now been 2 in my life, 2 weddings I've gone to or I've not had to do anything.
Well, fair enough. I have done the same as far as I don't know that I've officiated as many as you've played in. Because I feel like officiating, it's a very I just feel like it's easier to play in weddings and officiate them. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm simply saying the ratio is probably not going to be close.
Yeah.
But I probably I played in a wedding once. I was the lead. I was the guitarist. That's right.
Okay.
You know that.
Oh man, fun fact.
That's fun fact.
I like it.
Yeah, but yeah, I officiated a lot of them. But actually, probably not a majority. A lot. Maybe probably a majority. Yeah. But it wasn't. I don't even think about it. It's just a wedding season. I think I just went to a lot of weddings too. But then, you have your kids, and then after your kids season, you go into everybody's kids are, kind of going to school, and you go into the sports season. And then, so I've enjoyed getting older. I told Casey, I'm like, when you look at people that are older that really enjoy being with each other and enjoy their life, and then, you just see them, you're like, man, I remember a couple years ago, we were at a restaurant and we didn't have any money. Our church is 10 years old this September. So I'm guessing this is probably maybe 2 or 3 years in, and we just didn't have a lot. I think we had, I want to say it was Makai was with us, who was my 9-year-old. And he was little. He's probably a year and a half, 2 years old. And we were at this restaurant. If you go from Virginia Beach up towards Richmond, you can go back way called 460, and there's this restaurant. It's basically, I forget what it's called, but it's like right at this like peanut place, and like they have a whole gift store of like peanut stuff. And it was a restaurant. It was like a buffet. It wasn't anything fancy. And I remember sitting there with Casey and Makai, and I don't remember. I think I was going to speak at a church in Richmond, and so I knew I'd have a little extra money. And so we went to this restaurant on the way. And I was sitting beside a couple, and it was an older couple. And when I say older, they were retired, but they weren't, they were able to do everything. And I remember looking at them thinking, wow, I cannot wait. I can't imagine the day where I can just go out to eat with my spouse. And I think they had a grandkid with them, and just not worry about how much it costs, like at a normal average, middle America type restaurant.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget that moment. And I just remembered the grind of being young, and not that I'm not now, but being young and trying to get your foundation set for your future and all of these things, man. And so I can say, I love, as I'm getting older, I'm going to be 42 in September, and I love it. I love, because I feel like I've spent my entire life building what now we get to reap. So, we've, and whatever the word is. But now what we've sown, we're now reaping.
Yes.
I told Casey, like, we spent our entire life building things that we get to, everything's just coming together. Like with the church, we're 10 years old. We've got our building, and we got an Oakland campus, which is amazing having that campus. The last couple of years, the amount that I've invested into baseball, and now I'm starting this, we just got a nonprofit that we're starting, that there's gonna be more information on that coming soon. I don't want to spoil it, but, just some amazing things God's doing with it, with the baseball world, and being able to teen challenge and being able to really help teens that are coming out of juvenile detention centers and drug rehabs and transition back to their homes. All that stuff is coming together. The people we get around us, like you and Lauren and, Buddy and Man, just the people that have been a part of our life for so long, that are all now taking massive roles in these organizations that we all have such a passion for. We were talking about it yesterday, and just a cool full circle moment that you get whenever you follow what God has for your life, and the people we get to do it with, man. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's the biggest part is there's people that you would love to live life with that you get to, and you keep meeting more, but there's such a richness that we are experiencing in our life right now that I don't know that not everybody gets to experience, and not because God doesn't have it. But there were years, bro, where we had nothing. And I'm not just talking about financially. It was hard years. And when we moved into our church building now, the Lord spoke to me. He's like, it'll look different from here on out. You'll never do that part again. And it wasn't a matter of, the picture I kept getting was it's hot, like it's been in Virginia Beach, 110 every day. And you're outside with your straw hat on, and you're, the gear I always make fun of when I go to Atlanta. Everybody has those like Columbia fishing shirts on, but when you wear them, you know why? Because it's amazing. But I feel like we're out in the fields with those, like digging holes with our big straw hats on for 10 years. And you're just digging, hoping that you're doing the right thing. And you know that God's guided you there, but you're like, all we have is a bunch of dirt that we've tilled up. And I feel like that's been the last 10 years. And I feel like now God's like, okay, now there's things that are producing. And so now the weight is different. Instead of managing no money, you're going to be managing different amounts of money and having to put it where I tell you. Instead of managing very little people, you have to manage more people. And I heard a pastor say once that you just add zeros to attendance, to money, to everything, and you just manage it differently. And I really feel like that's where God has us, is like, man, we've been faithful, not just us, but so many people, but Casey and I in 10 years, just faithful in digging and faithful in getting to the root and faithful in doing all those things. And it's really been cool, man, because I feel like now we're not just reaping what we've sown, but people around us have the opportunity to reap it. But now they're sowing things that they're going to reap, and their generations and people that they're going to lead are going to reap. And it's just a cool picture of how God works. But I think that season we're in, and I know nobody's guaranteed tomorrow. And I can tell you that I used to fear that. And now I just feel, which is weird. I mean, I have so much more that God's put in me. But, with Casey and I both, I think we're like, if tomorrow was it, if today was it, I could always do more. I could always be more. But I feel like we have just built a foundation for what God's asked, that whether or not we're the ones to carry that on, he has been faithful in it. And so I say that to everybody who is getting older. And I know some people that listen to this podcast, you're retired and you're like, man, what is God going to use me for? Anything, he'll use you for anything.
That's good.
And so many people, they're like, I think we're always striving. Like, I just read an article today. It was talking about the amount of millennials that are dying. Doctors aren't talking about it because they don't really know why, but a ton of millennials are dying of like stomach cancer, and people born in the 90s are, and I didn't want to bring this up. So like, man, that's a downer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's talking about the percentage of millennials that are dying of cancers, according to the older people. It's astronomical right now. And people born in the 90s are, I forget the statistic, but it's significant. The people that are born in the 90s, the cancers that they can die of versus somebody that's a baby boomer, it's astronomical.
Jeez.
And so obviously the food plays into that and those types of things. But it just made me think, like, you know what? Young doesn't mean young anymore. Like, because it's not like you may not walk out here and die of a heart attack or die of, dementia, but they're dying of these diseases. And it's like everybody is privy to that. But yeah, I think that as I've gotten older, I used to be like, man, I'm getting older. But now I'm like, gosh, that's so awesome. I get another day or I get another year, because it's just not given anymore. It's I don't know. I used to think when you're young, you look at old people and that's the best way to put it. Like, man, I don't want to be old. Like, I don't want my life to, I don't want to, feel like I don't want things to not work right. But as I've gotten older, I've just really enjoyed everything gets richer. Your marriage gets richer. Your love gets richer. Everything you do gets richer. Yeah. And I don't feel like I'm striving like I used to either. I don't feel like when you hit 40, you kind of feel like you're going to be the rock star by the time you're 35. And when you're not and you hit 40, you start to realize that that's probably not the goal.
That's good. Yeah.
I think I realize now, like there's so many guys that I thought were going to be the next big thing that aren't even doing the things I thought they would do anymore. Because you can't pay for perseverance. Can't buy that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's my 10 cents on it. But I love getting older, man, because I feel like every year's richer.
That was like the perfect answer for someone that's like, ha, you're getting so old. And then you answer that way. And that person's like, oh, shoot. Wish I could get older. Yeah.
It is, man. I know. And it's funny because we got a lot of retired people around us. Like, my parents are retired. Casey's parents just retired, and, they're moving in here. And it's amazing because I get to see their life and I get to see like all they worked for. And I told Casey, I said, all that God's given us and all that we have. And I said, the goal, if my kids would let me live right near them or on their property or around them, and I could live in, I don't care if it's a 1-bedroom or a studio, just something connected to their family where I can just be with them. I don't really know that I would need anything else. Like, that would be ideal for me, like, and then, you just want to be with your kids.
And then you could be the one walking in your underwear in the background of their Zoom calls and meetings.
Oh yeah. I'm prepared for it. I'm prepared for it. I always tease. I said, what? I said, whose dream? I said, who doesn't have a dream that they come home and they see their mother-in-law floating in their pool?
Come on in.
Yeah. I said, who doesn't dream that? Our front door is glass and our back door is glass, and you can see when you stay on the porch through the front door and through the back door and into the pool. I was like, man, I can't wait to just come home and but my in-laws are great. They actually just got back from Germany. They got in like at 1:00 in the morning. So they're here. They've been gone for about a month visiting my sister-in-law. But yeah, man, I think as I've gotten older too, I can't tell you the honor that I feel being able to have even a small part of, like, my parents, they live here, but they go to our church and they help with the boys a lot, take them to practice and stuff, but they're just very involved with their lives. And I think with my in-laws, like, just being able to know as a 41-year-old, the amount of involvement God's allowed Casey and I to have with our parents' retirement. So my parents retired down here. They're from DC because of our church, and we live down here. And my mom's like, you guys aren't moving, are you? And I was like, hopefully, just teasing her. But just the amount of involvement God's allowed Casey and I to have with our parents' retirement has been an honor, because they've done so much for us. And so to be able to, at such a young age, to be able to give back and be a part of hopefully another 20, 25 years that they have left. and really give to that has been an honor. I mean, sure, we all get on each other's nerves. I mean, my wife gets on my nerves. I get on my nerves. My kids get on my nerves.
Yeah.
Like, would you agree? Everybody in your life gets on your nerves, including yourself.
Absolutely.
I have times where I get on my own nerves. You have that?
Oh yeah.
And so, anyway, all that to say, yeah, it's just an honor, dude, to, perspective has shifted a lot for me with all of this, because it's just an honor to be a part of the lives of those people who have done so much for us, you know?
That's cool.
So, and like I showed you, like it's just, yeah, so it's different. I think I used to look at age. I used to hate my birthdays because I used to feel like it's another year where I failed and I wasn't where God wanted me to be, but it wasn't true, or where I wanted to be. It's not true. Yeah. And so now I look at age and I'm like, gosh, look at how much God's done.
Yeah.
Instead of look at what I haven't done, I made it about me. Now I'm like, look what God has done.
That's good.
It's amazing when you shift that perspective. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, for sure.
And tomorrow morning when you wake up and you're rested, you'll be able to understand everything I'm saying.
I'm just nodding my head. Yes.
I'm with you, man. But anyway, so yeah, it's exciting. But, you know, college football is upon us, Corey. The game will come out here in the next couple of weeks. I had somebody send me a meme yesterday, and they were like, is this you? I was like, absolutely. And the meme said, it's this. It says, it has a picture of the college football game, and it says, your friends all just came over and you ordered a bunch of pizza and Mountain Dew. You're fired up. You fired up NCAA football on your Xbox, but for me, PS5. It says, no school tomorrow. The adults don't care if you stay up all night long. A perfect summer evening. You are 43 years old, and this is 2024. He said, is this you? I said, you already know it.
That's hilarious.
So, Corey, you have an open invitation on July 19th to have a sleepover, man. Come over and
so you can school me in a football game. Yeah.
I mean, it's the only game I'll probably ever beat you in.
I don't play sports games.
Yeah. But you might still beat me. You're a gamer, so you never know.
I get lucky. I don't know what I'm calling. I don't know the play calls.
Hey, it's okay. So yeah, man, I wore my Notre Dame shirt today, representing college football.
There we go.
That's as classic as it gets. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, excited. So hey, what kind of fun facts you got for us, man?
Well, I love that we spent the majority of this podcast already talking about getting old. Because speaking of getting old, can I ask you a question? This is a question that I've almost in many times in my life felt like I've been forced that I should participate in this. But I'm just not that. Let me ask you, like, are you big on like massages or anything, or like, or I would say, because this is where it's heading, or even going to the chiropractor?
No, on both accounts.
Yeah, neither am I. I've always people. Oh, you need to like go get your neck and whatever aligned, and I'm like, no, I'm good. Like when you go to the chiropractor, you got to keep going. Well, there's a reason for that. Well, that's the thing. Well, you shouldn't here's what I'm getting into, because I didn't know this until this past week. And you know me, I'm not like, honestly, there's a lot of times, or sure, there's sometimes for these fun facts, I go out and research. A lot of times I'm just reading random things and I come across these things anyway. So I want to talk about the invention of chiropractic care. Here's the thing. I don't even know. Is there a word? You know how I don't think the invention of chiropractic. I don't think there's a word for that. I literally think it's just chiropractic.
That would guess.
Care.
That would be my guess. That'd be my uneducated guess.
Well, so for all the people that are really, really, I know people that are always going to the chiropractor.
But again, if you go, I've heard that you have to keep going. That's a part of it.
Well, there might be some spiritual things at play here.
Oh, Lord.
So I didn't know this, but the founder of, literally, it says here in Google, the founder of Chiropractic. I feel like that's just bad English. But anyway, his name was Daniel David Palmer. And this was invented in 1895. But here's the craziest part. He was a spiritualist. And he claims that he got the idea. I'm just going to read you this. The founder of chiropractic claimed that he received the basics of chiropractic treatment during a seance with the spirit of a deceased doctor.
Oh, Lord.
In 1895.
Go ahead, Go ahead.
He said that the spirit of Dr. Jim Atkinson Atkinson, whatever that is, who had died 50 years earlier, gave him the knowledge and the philosophy for chiropractic care, which he considered a kind of religion. That's crazy. So I just want the people to know out there, it started from a seance. So there might be a reason. There might be a reason that you have to keep going back because you've got a demon in you, I think.
When somebody grabs both of you, when somebody tells you lay on your stomach and they grab both of your legs and run them into your body,
and you fart, yeah. Dude,
you hope that's all it is.
there's a real like compilation of clips out there of people going to the chiropractor and them farting on the table because they're like, and they're
I would think that'd be normal.
Yeah, right. Get it out of there.
I would think that'd be normal. Listen, I would say that what's interesting to me is that, like, I'm one of these guys that I don't think that everything is necessary. Okay. So I'm not an all natural, organic, like this is the way you do it. I don't think like that. But I will say I've never been sold on chiropractors ever. I have people who've gone to them. Everybody who I've ever known to go to them, I would say 99%. That's a pretty big statement.
Yeah.
I'll say 95. I'll say 90 just to be safe. Have raved about it.
Yeah.
They have said, man, it's just changed everything, this and that. And I'm like, but they say you have to keep going back because you have to get your things back in alignment. Now, I had a sciatic nerve issue, sciatica, when I was in college playing football. And so they gave me like 800 milligram of Motrin and like oxycodone. I mean, literally, that's what they gave me. And I'm like, this can't be good. I never took anything for it because I'm the type of person where if I can live with the pain, unless I don't, if it's a painkiller, it treats a symptom and not the root. So for me, I try not to take stuff unless I'm like got a cold or a fever, stuff like that, where your body's working through it. Yeah. But when you have like a back issue or you have like a body issue that hurts, I'm not like a fan of taking Motrin because that problem's still there. It's just taking the pain away.
Well, do you know what stuff like that does? So stuff like Tylenol, whatever.
No.
It creates, so your liver can't feel pain. So when you ingest this stuff, essentially it's making your liver hurt. And so your brain actually can't focus on more than one like spot of pain at a time. And which is why sometimes you can track like pain throughout your body because you start thinking about that spot and then it hurts. But stuff like this essentially just makes your liver hurt. And so your brain forgets about the other areas in your body that hurt because your liver's hurting. And so it just masks the pain. Something else in your body hurts. Isn't that wild? It's crazy.
It's weird.
Yeah, I've never taken this stuff anyway because it never works for me. But
I bet you I don't get headaches. So that's a fair thing. Like I can't tell you to have a legit headache. I bet you I haven't had how old am I? I bet you I haven't had a legit headache in 25 years.
Yeah, I don't get them a lot either.
Like it's been 25 years easy. And I would say the last time I took Tylenol was over Christmas. I had like 3 days where I just had like this, just felt like crap, like a fever. I don't know what it was. It wasn't like COVID. Like my kids got tested. It was just, I think we just had like a flu almost for like 3 days. I never got sick or nothing. It was just like, I felt like trash. And I took Tylenol and ibuprofen just to kind of keep the fever down and like be able to rest a little bit. But and like before that, it was probably 5 years. Like, and I only take it, like, I haven't taken it since. That was December. What is it, July? Like, I don't take ibuprofen, Tylenol, like I don't take that stuff. So I think for me, I'm not, it's all natural. I don't believe like that. No, I think medicine's a good thing. I'm grateful for it. Sure. I just don't take it. Like for me, if it's just, and now if I had like a toothache and they give me painkillers so I can get it worked on, like that's different, because you're just like in pain. But, I don't think a lot of people realize the amount of pain management people deal with in life. Like, my father-in-law, he's been outside working with his hands his entire life. He just recently retired with Verizon. He was up in a bucket for the last 25 years, and then recently he got moved over, like the last probably 10 years, he was over on like, more of like the FiOS side, but, he's that guy is a working man. You know him. He is, at his age, I bet he can outwork anybody I know at his age.
Oh, like yeah. He was in this building all the time.
He's unbelievable.
Putting in the work, man.
He's unbelievable. And he can do anything.
Yeah.
Like when you see what Adam's able to do, you're not surprised because you see him. Like there's like, I always tell you, I don't know what I'm doing with stuff, but with normal, like when I get around, I'm not talking about just like, carpentry. I'm talking about like stuff. But when I get around people, I realized like I may not know how to do stuff, but I've done a lot more than most people because my brother-in-law and father-in-law, they built houses with their bare hands. Like my brother-in-law built his house. Like I just showed you the picture. We're putting in a septic outside.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like this is just stuff they do. Like we got a big old excavator just digging holes. Like they can do anything.
Yeah.
And it's awesome to watch, but I learn a lot. But I say that because like my father-in-law, I will put him up against anybody his age just doing physical labor. Like that man is just farm strong, and he's not a big dude, but man, he would just work. And I say that because I think that, and he's gone to chiropractor before, but I think he even tells me that he just has pain a lot. He's told me about before where he just lives in pain with his back and you know, some days it's awful and he gets stuff fixed. Like he's not like one of those people who just ignores it. But he was telling me about this. He was like, yeah, like when you get my age, he's like, a lot of people they have pain all the time. You just learn how to live in pain. You just learn how to live with pain nonstop. So the reason I say all that is I don't think people realize the amount of pain management that most of America, I would say a majority of people have a level of pain that they just try to live with. I mean, I know a lot of people who just have pain, whether they always have headaches, or they always have back aches, or they have like a knee that always aches. It's just they always have something that is, you know, always aching or hurting or a lot of people have that. I mean, how many people do you know over 50 that have legit pain all the time?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. It's a ton of people. Have you ever had those moments too, where like I have them a lot recently where whether you're getting out of bed or whatever and walking down the stairs first thing in your morning and you're like, I'm 37. What's this going to feel like when I'm 57?
Yeah. Dude, it's
wild.
It's a real thing, man. I mean, I weigh like 240 pounds, right?
Yeah.
People look at me like, there's no way you weigh 240. But like my family, we're thick. Like we're big people. Like, so my legs, bro, they're like this big around. Like it's just what it is. But I don't have pain because people are like, man, it's just a lot of weight. 'Cause they say like, I think every pound of pressure on your knees or every pound that you gain is like 10 pounds of pressure or something.
Yeah.
I don't really have knee trouble. They hurt a little bit in the last year. I started playing basketball again, and like they would hurt. Like I had to ice them. Honestly, I think that's just getting old. I've never had knee problems, never blown out anything, even all the years I played football, which I'm grateful for. But my body, like I'm built, like my bottom, my legs are big so they can carry my top. And like, it's kind of how our family's proportion, but I don't have, thank God, my lower back, I have pain because of years ago I did CrossFit without anybody showing me how to do it, and I was just stupid.
Going
crap
intense.
that I shouldn't have done. Did stuff that I shouldn't have done. But I know how to manage it, and like I know how certain things that I don't do that I never hurt. Like I can work out all the time and not hurt my back. It's just certain times I sleep wrong that it'll hurt, like be a little stiff, but it doesn't keep me from doing stuff. I say all that to say, I think like pain management, especially with people that, you know, are younger, a lot of people, I'll just lose a ton of weight, and that helps. But sometimes it's like legit muscle tissue stuff that you need like to work back into something different. Like losing weight's a huge thing, but yeah, that stuff's important, man. Because this is the thing, quality of life. People don't realize how much your physical plays into your spiritual. And what I mean by that is your quality of life is so important, because how hard is it to do the normal disciplines? But then when you have pain, you're definitely not doing the disciplines. You can't even focus. You can't focus on God when you have your cup of coffee looking out at the beach. How are you supposed to focus on God when you wake up and your knees are killing you?
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying? We pray to God, Lord, fix it. But yeah, man, it's pain management's a big deal. So the chiropractor thing, I've never been sold on it when they're like, well, once you go, you have to go back. I'm like, well, the fact that I have to go back once he jacks up my back the first time, I think they work. I think there's a legitimate medicinal practice. And I think it's probably a lot of the practices are so far away from that origin, just like yoga. People do yoga, even though it's not in, you know, like I know people like there's so many people that won't do stuff like that because it's all spiritually connected. It's like, well, it used to be, but you know,
well, I didn't realize that there's still an ongoing debate in the science world of like, yes, there's like real medical things that we can see from it, but chiropractic care is still somewhat viewed by some corners of the medical world as pseudoscience. Like, it's not like there's doctors out there that will say, don't go to a chiropractor. And then there's doctors out there that will. I didn't realize that it's such like a, that even chiropractors are viewed somewhat as like, well, you're not like a real doctor, which is crazy. Like, again, I just researched all this stuff this past week. But
yeah, no,
but
I understand that.
the way I see it, if you have to keep going back, you probably got to go get an exorcism at this point. So
I've never been about it, man.
Yeah.
Like the whole massage thing. Like, first of all, I don't get down like that. Like, I don't want some dude rubbing on my body.
Well,
and I certainly am not comfortable. And I know it's like, that's not what it is. And I'm certainly not comfortable at this point in my life having a woman do it. And so it's like, I just rather like, hey, Case, I got a knot in my back. Can you massage this thing out? My wife is so anti-massage. She's like, she would never want anybody doing that. That's just her. That's just her. And people are like, well, have you gotten them? They're great. Listen, we know masseuses that have offered to give us massages. And I want to say first and foremost, thank you. I believe you're great at what you do. For us, it's been one of those things that honestly, it's like, you're like, well, when you get one, it's different. I get that, but I'm just not that guy.
Yeah.
That's just me. And Casey's the same way. She's like, yeah, it's the same me. Like, are you?
Yeah. No, not me at all.
Is Lauren a massage?
No. It's just, now Lauren is like, if I would give her a massage,
sure. Let's keep this podcast family friendly.
Big hands.
You're not trained. You're not trained.
I'm just trying to tell people out there, if you go to the chiropractor and there's a bunch of candles in a circle, and just be wary. Yeah. That's all I'm trying to say.
If they tell you to put your hand on the Ouija board, just step away.
Step away. Your T4 spine? Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Just be careful, guys.
That's funny. Well, hey, let's go to You Asked For It.
Don't blame me. You asked for it.
I want to talk to all you out there who are getting bit up this summer by the mosquitoes.
Oh, boy.
Oh, yeah. How many of y'all up there? Throw your hands up. Throw your hands up. Throw your hands up. Yeah. I am one of those guys. Now,
I'll tell you
this. I've learned how to defeat those little suckers. Do you want me to tell you how?
I have a couple different ways that
let's hear it.
Okay. Well, I want to hear it. Okay.
Well, my question is simply, that's the question. Are you the one that gets bit? Yes or no?
That's actually not. I don't get bit that often. No.
Yeah. Well, I do. But you know what I do? I wear tall socks.
Oh, yeah.
There it is. Tall socks. Because they get me on my ankles.
You probably could have got your foot higher if you went to the chiropractor before.
If I went to the chiropractor, I may not got my foot up at all.
Got to go back.
Yeah. So I wear tall socks, but this is the thing. I'm going to tell you some reasons.
Okay.
Do you want to know the reasons?
Sure. Hit me.
All right. Blood type.
Oh.
They say people that are blood type as much as type A, blood type O is more attractive for whatever reason.
So O is more than A?
Yep.
Okay.
And they also pick up on cues. The mosquitoes know the amount of CO2 that you produce. And there are secondary cues like lactic acid, which is what causes your muscles to cramp during exercise. They pick up on that. Another thing is they fly low to the ground, right? Because they can't deal with wind or breezes. So they fly low to the ground, little suckers, those little dark demonic suckers. And they say because of that, dark clothes attract more mosquitoes because they have excellent vision, and dark clothes stand out from the horizon. And so they can see you. Also, body temperature. The mosquitoes want to get something where the blood's close to the skin, where they can just go at it. And they say if you run a little warmer when they land, they're looking for a place where the blood's close to the skin. It's higher temps, and they're more likely to get a bite. And they said the last thing is people who drink alcohol. That sometimes that'll make you run a little different too, and they'll be able to get that. So I
mean, that's probably why you get bit more than me.
Yeah. I mean, you would think I'm a binge drinker, the amount I get bit. But that's the thing. If I wear tall, they get my ankles. That is where I get bit. I don't really get bit all over the body. It's ankles, 150%. I remember as a kid, we'd go to the beach and we'd stay in an RV park with my best friend. And they had like these, the ones you would expect in a camp, like an RV campground, the bathhouses that are just RV campground bathhouses they're just like state parks. And they had these, neon lights on around them, and you go near those things and you would get hit. I bet you one night I had 80 bites on my ankles.
Yeah.
But as I've gotten older, I don't get bit as much. But honestly, if it's like around here where we live out in the country, we live in Virginia Beach, but obviously for those who are listening, we live like 10, 15 minutes outside of like the city in the country. And there's always a breeze out here. And I can tell you there's never mosquitoes. It's amazing. There's always a slow breeze. It's amazing, but the breeze just keeps the bugs away out here because it's always breezy out here.
Yeah.
And it's unbelievable. It's like a paradise.
Well, I've heard two things actually kind of recently that are really good for mosquitoes. They say if you're like out in your back, like patio or whatever, and it's really bad, a bubble machine for some reason. I don't know if they view the bubbles as predators or whatnot.
Maybe they like bubbles.
But just the thing.
Maybe they like bubbles, Corey.
They're busy. Maybe they get trapped inside of them.
I'm not mad about it. Maybe they like bubbles.
The second one is you can buy these little clip-on, especially if like you're a hiker or something. These people buy these clip-on dragonflies. So they're fake dragonflies, but like as people are hiking, they just clip it on their backpack or whatever. And that's mosquitoes' like natural predator. And so they don't even.
They have excellent vision.
That's what I'm saying. So they don't even, like I've heard, they don't even come near you if you have these little clip-on dragonfly things.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna have to go to the beach.
There you go.
I'm gonna go back to where I grew up in that RV park and put a dragonfly and see if they get my ankles.
Yeah. Just saying.
If they do, I'm gonna sue for false advertising. Just saying.
Yeah.
Hey,
I heard it on the internet. Must be true.
Yeah. So hey, all you out there getting bit by mosquitoes, wear some light clothes. Try to stay cool. And if you do get bit, throw an ice cube on that thing is what they're saying.
Okay.
You know, so it's just a little bit of a tip. As we go into our summer break, I figure I'm going to do everything I can to help your life be a little better. This is the last bit of advice you're going to get from this podcast until August 14th. And by then, some of y'all are going back to school.
People just going to be outside with all their dragonfly clips and tall socks and dad shoes and jean shorts and a bubble machine going.
That's it. Hey, that's it. Well, listen, before we close here, I want to give you, there's one article I read. I want to give a shout out to a teen.
Okay.
Respect is a big deal in my house. Respect is something that I say, listen, and I tell all my teams that I coach, I say great teams beat bad calls and other great teams. I said great teams can beat great teams and bad umpires. Don't use anything as an excuse. Be great. Well, there was a girl working at a snow cone stand in Texas. And a mother came up to this young girl. And the mother apparently had prepaid for a snow cone for this kid that was coming. And as I read the article, my understanding is that the kid didn't get the snow cone that the mother had prepaid for. So the mother came up and was yelling at these two teenage kids, going off on them. And you know this story?
I think I saw the clip. Yeah.
Yeah, on TikTok. 15 million views when I read this. This is a while ago, so there's more than that.
Yeah.
Anyway, the mother came back. They gave her the money. Well, when the teen went to close the door, a little wooden thing fell off, and the mother came back and said, "Oh no," and cussed at the girl. And the girl said, "You're a grown woman. You shouldn't act like this. You're not welcome here. We don't need your business." 17.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's two things. First thought is good for that young lady because disrespect should not be tolerated. Whether or not if I always tell my kids, you respect authority. When they disrespect you, you keep your mouth shut until you have to say something, meaning you don't talk back. You don't ever answer dishonor with dishonor.
Yeah.
You can answer dishonor with honor. And I tell them, just because it's an adult doesn't give them a right for disrespect. That is a standard that you should expect from all humans. Now, because your interpretation was that they were disrespectful doesn't give you a right to be disrespectful. When they call you the B word and they say something ignorant to you, you can stand up for yourself and say, this will not be tolerated, because you need to talk to them like, unfortunately, you don't talk to them like they're a child, but this woman needed to be handled like she was a child because she was acting like not even a child. That's not even fair to say. Children don't act like that.
Yeah.
Shame on an adult. And I'm not saying to this woman particularly, she could have just had a bad day. But when adults talk to kids, I am blown away at the things I've heard, even on a baseball field, an adult say to a kid that isn't theirs. And it's amazing to me how we expect our kids to live with so much integrity, but I don't see it a lot of times in the parents that they have. Yeah. You want your kid to have integrity? Well, why don't you have integrity? You want your kids to honor your coaches, but you don't honor their coaches. And you wonder why Johnny ain't getting better, because you don't give the ability of the coach to really discipline and develop your child. You just want the development. Well, that can't happen without the discipline. There's nothing great that comes without discipline. Nothing great comes without, you can't have the revelation without the responsibility, right? Like those are real things. And good for this girl, stand up for herself. And I think, I tell my kids, like, if you're disrespected, you don't have to take that. You don't have to stand there and be disrespectful. Oh, that's just dishonor. No, it isn't. That's not the way my kids, I do not want them to accept that, because in life, when their bosses are dishonoring or people around them, that you stay under leadership that doesn't know how to respect you, that's on you. That's not on that leader. That leader is what they are, but you have a responsibility. And I think it's different. People are like, well, I'm going to stand up for myself. And then you're just disrespectful. That doesn't get anywhere.
Yeah.
It doesn't solve anything. But when somebody's disrespecting and they're not honoring you, you can still honor them by the way you approach them. And that's what I tell my kids, like, you'll never gain honor with dishonor. That's something I tell them all the time. And so it doesn't mean that somebody's rude to you and they do these things. No, it simply means you respond in a way that is honoring, but is stern in an expectation of how you, because I tell my kids, if you're being coached, that coach is cussing you out. Like, that's not how we do things. I'm not going to put up with that. It's just not how I do it. If you want to cuss my kid out, if you want to tear him up or tear into him because he messed up and you've coached him in something and he's not listening and he's being disrespectful, that's one thing. If you want to correct him and show him how to do something right and he's not doing it, do it. But for a coach just to cuss my kid out, I'm like, I don't talk to my kid like that. You're sure as heck not going to talk to my kid like that.
Yep.
Like, I don't tolerate it. And I tell him, like, if a coach did that, I would actually be like, hey, like, don't get me wrong. There's coaches that cuss in front of my kids. But if you're cussing at my kid and you call him something or you tear him up, like, we're going to have a conversation, because this thing, that's not a coaching thing. That is a life thing. You can coach a kid well without destroying their character. You can coach a kid well without tearing them down. And as a coach, if you have to tear a kid down to get a result, you're not getting the result you think. You're building a fear tactic. And so, yeah, for me, like, I have zero tolerance. If I see a coach disrespecting my kid, I'll ask my kid, hey, and this hasn't happened. This isn't like something that's happening. It's just one of those things. I think as like Caden gets older, he's my oldest, if there's a coach that's coaching him and just destroying him and disrespectful to him, I'm coming out of the stands, bro. Like, I won't be able to hold myself back, because I'm like, I'm not going to just, for the sake of sport, let my kid be privy to somebody who can't control their temper. Because I had coaches like that. I had a coach that was like that, and his son coached with him. And his son came up to me and was like, bro, don't ever worry about that. Like, and I remember in high school, I snapped back at him once, and I was like, no, that ain't the way this goes. Like, I'm not going to sit here and let you cuss me out, because, like, this is not how it works. Some people will be like, well, that's a bad athlete, this and that. If you're getting coached by Nick Saban, and this guy believes in you and he's pushing you hard and he's cussing while he's coaching you, that's one thing. And there's going to be times you chews your butt out. That's needed. There are times you need your butt chewed out. But chewing your butt out because you made a bad play and you didn't think through the play and you this and that is one thing. But when coaches demoralize a person and talk about they don't listen and you don't do this and you don't do that, like, that's different than, you can tear into a player in a good way that makes them better. But tearing up a player is different.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Agree. Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, I think it's just one of those things where I'm like, man, good for that girl. Like, I don't, the problem with a lot of kids when they disrespect adults is because their parents don't respect adults. But this situation, she did the right thing. She said, hey, you need to leave and you're not welcome here. We don't need your business, because if you're going to treat people like this, like, and so I just applaud her, because I think we always say, oh, respect your elders. Well, I think what that has become a term for, you can be emotionally abused by people and you're supposed to shut up. Like, and we wonder why we have so many mental health problems. Well, for the last 50, 60 years, you could be slapped in the face by somebody that's an adult and you had to put up with it. You could be in school and they could hit you in the hands with rulers and you had to put up with it. Like physical abuse. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you had to put up with it. Well, it made me better. I'm sure it didn't,
Yeah.
And so I just think there's a level. I tell my kids all the time, like, you respect authority, keep your mouth shut. But if somebody needs to stand up for what's right in that room, you have full authority to do it. And that's not that we're the police around there. But I was like, if they're doing something to you that is wrong, or to a friend that is wrong, you have absolutely 100% full throttle to stand up for what's right. I don't care how old you are. At 18, you don't get that permission. You have a responsibility as a child, as a kid that knows right, to stand up for what's right. And I don't care if it's an adult or a kid. And that's what I tell them. Like, it's not about the age of the person. It's about your responsibility is to stand up for what's right and stand up for the people around you. Like, you take care of others. And it doesn't mean that, well, they're the Braveheart. That's not what I'm saying. I'm simply saying, like, this girl, she just said, hey, we don't need your business. This isn't right. You need to go. And she had the authority to do it as somebody who was there. So you see what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
And I think there's a very big difference, because a lot of parents are like, well, you won't do that to my kid, or you won't talk to my kid, or the kid's like, well, I'm not going to listen to that because I don't like the way he's saying. That's different. That's just being baby. You know what I mean? It takes courage to do what that girl did.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I like it.
So it's good. But hey, final thought.
Here's my final thought.
Hey, get out and do something this summer, right? I want you guys in the next month to just go do something you didn't plan. Even if it's a one day, we're going to go one day and we're going to schedule a fun adventure. We're going to go to the beach today. We weren't planning on it, or we're going to go away for a night. I want everybody that's listening to commit to one thing you're going to do this summer that you weren't planning on it. Right now, before the end of the day, write something down that you're going to do this summer. It could be, I'm going to go to Busch Gardens for the day. Free advertising. Busch Gardens, look this up. I want to go do something fun for the day. Just go do something fun that you weren't planning on it, so that you can look back on the summer and say, man, I may not have done everything I wanted to do, but I did get to do that one thing. And it doesn't have to even cost money. It could just be something that wasn't planned. Me and my wife, when we lived down the ocean front for years, we didn't have money to do a lot, but we lived at the ocean front. And so vacations for us, we could ride our bikes and put our kids in little trailers behind us and ride them to the beach, have a day at the beach and ride back home. And that was a gift from God. We got to go to the beach as much as we wanted when we didn't have a lot. And so there's a lot of things you can do. And so I want you to go and do something fun. You deserve it. God wants you to enjoy it. And God delights in the things that make us happy, man. But it's summer break. We're going to be back August 14th. You will see a bunch of clips on the next couple of weeks, and we'll have summer break on them to let you know, hey, we'll be back August 14th. We can't wait. We hope you have a great summer. We love y'all. Let me pray over you. Lord, I pray for each and every listener. I pray that we know you love them, you care for them, you're here for them, you never leave them. And we pray they have a great, safe summer. And everybody said, amen. Love you guys. We'll see you the 14th. As always, Palm Church every Sunday, 9:30.